It's the state of the dungeon! It's a video that Rob does about his games. Yeah! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the State of the Dungeon address. I am Rob, and this is the address for the game that took place on June 11th, 2020, the game 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. I was playing first Galhard and then Korbrecht. We had finished up with the dealing with the Yuan Ti in the Tomb of Denethor, where the Oracle Pool was, the artifact we were looking for. We had done all that. We had made an alliance, or a truce with the Yuan Ti. We may end up coming back and clearing them out. They're just kind of vile. But we got the White Dragon Worm Speaker, the shield dwarf that we had been hunting. But as we were going out, we had this brilliant idea. Well, here's an Oracle Pool here. We could use it. I mean, you know, how often do you get a chance at a good divination? So we tried. We set everything up so that water would get into the basin, use a little bit of holy water. Black flames shoot up as the water covers the entirety of the basin impossibly. And everybody except for the Lady of the Halfling fails a wisdom saving throw, including our cleric, who had a pretty good shot at it. So we all drop like lifeless sacks of potatoes. Now, Lydia was given some time to do whatever she wanted to do, but we were all kind of stuck in a dummy plane, flat, featureless plane. In front of us was a dais with a throne, and there was this kind of a shapeless, formless robe with a hood, nothing inside of it, just kind of held out in a vaguely humanoid form. Well, Galhard moved up and introduced himself because that's only polite. And the figure goes, "I didn't expect you to be here. I'm not sure how you got here." And we're like, "Well, we just took the pool." And he's like, "Ah, that's how." Well, at any rate, I am curious what you were doing here. And they're like, "Well, we wanted to use this artifact. We didn't really want to be here." And it's like, "Well, I am an aspect of the god of magic. I am the one that governs divination. And since you are here, I can release you, but you must sacrifice something." And we're like what? He goes, "Do you know what sacrifice means?" And my character said, "Yeah. Up in the tomb, there was this large statue and a sign that said we had to offer tribute. Or we were told we were supposed to offer tribute. So I took my masterwork greatsword, which I had earned in combat, and I laid it down, despite the fact that it's a good weapon." And he's like, "Well, you do understand sacrifice. Well, here it is. You are just souls here. Your souls have been pulled from your body, and that's why you are here. So you must sacrifice some part of yourself in order to get out." And people were talking about that for a while, and my character thought for a bit, and he's like, "Okay, well, Galhard, for me, I would sacrifice my past, my knowledge of my family and my clan. I will go on through life without that knowledge of where I came from or the people that I once knew for the chance to try to save the world, because that's the stakes we're playing for." And Spirit's like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty good." And some of the others were also discussing, and Glint was, "I'll sacrifice the knowledge on how to make things. All my crafting knowledge would be gone." It's like, "Ooh, that's pretty..." Of course, there was some lighthearted banter because none of us really wanted to sacrifice a major portion of our characters. Glint first offered his compassion, and since he's never done anything that we've seen that's been compassionate or self-sacrificing, that was kind of funny. We laughed that down. But the crafting was a big one. Plus, he then took another step and asked if he could get a divination about something that he wanted, and he offered up the joy of making things, too, on top of it. And so, we had our discussions. Kythion couldn't figure out something. He just had a really hard time with it. We were also there with Belphegor, and Belphegor's like, I don't know what I've got. I don't have a whole lot of that's valuable for me to give up. Finally, we're kind of like, okay, well, Galhard then realizes, well, maybe I don't want to give up my past. How about if I give up the opportunity to have children from then on, to never be able to pass my deeds on to another generation? And it's like, oh, okay, that's good too. Then Lydia shows up with a dragon, small copper dragon, about the size of a horse, shows up, and the dragon looks at the spirit and it's like, yeah, I know who you are, and this shenanigans is pretty much done now. And we're like, whoa, what's going on? And Lydia's like, hi guys, well, I brought a friend. And we're like, okay. And the dragon's like, alright, so basically this is how it's going to go. Either you can try to keep all of us here, that's not going to go well for you. Because you know who I am, and you know that's not going to work. Or you can fight us, and you'll be destroyed, and the well will be destroyed, and then you'll have nothing. Or you can come with me and leave this place and live on through me. And the spirit was compelled to take the last option. So we got freed from the pool, and we got to meet the Copper Dragon. The Copper Dragon is actually something. The dragon who had corresponded with our guildmaster's insane wizard father when he was, cobbling his plans together to fight the cult of the dragon. He, in actuality, is an avatar of Bahamut, who had been killed 5 years prior by a sneak attack from the cult of the dragon in preparation for their attempt to free the goddess Tiamat to our world. So they took him out so that the seal that his existence would be shattered. Funny thing, because of destiny, prophecy, whatever, the splinters of his soul all went to our characters. So that would include the characters from the original group, who originally were destined to join the Grand Order and help Bryn. And that was Galhard, that was Lydia, that was Kytheon, that was Art, who is no longer with us. The player does not play with us anymore, but he's still a factor in that. Glint, and Tredovic, the elf, who sadly is no longer with us because the player has permanently lost the character sheet. So he cannot be with us either. So they still exist in the world, and that means that this dragon still has to go around to them and find a way to get his piece of his soul out. It turns out it was easy, because when our souls got taken out of our body by the pool, he just went, oh, blink, 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 blink. And actually he went blink, 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 and Lydia's like, oh yeah, sure, no problems. There you go. But we have to go, and we have to eventually find Tredovic, and we have to find Art again. So, the dragon was pretty chatty. He was helpful. This was a lot of exposition again. There was no combat. This was Exposition City. And the dragon's like, well, you've still got things to do. I've got things to do. I get the pieces of my soul back, and we have to organize people against the cult. And Galhard's not a deep thinker. Not really deep. But at various points he was zinging the dragon by kind of like, yeah, okay, so you're kind of like the anti-mask. The masks that we have that are part of the ritual. Yeah, I guess you could say that. So, and just all different sorts of things. It was a bit of comedy in there. Although it was, fairly serious. So on we go, and we traveled back to Borskir Bridge. Crazy thing! While we're traveling along with 2/3 of the dragon avatar, we didn't have any encounters. Funny that. We got to Borskir Bridge, no problem. The problem was we had the dwarf with us, the worm speaker of the white. And, well, he's actually kicked out some Yuanti out of Borskir Bridge, so they saw him as a hero. If we brought him in, beaten up, gagged, and tied up, that might not have gone so well for us. We realized that in the nick of time. Honestly, none of us players had figured that out. So we sent Kythian in and Lydia to go in and bring the wizard out to us to cast the spell, so that we could teleportation circle back to Waterdeep. Cool. This all happens, no big deal. Boom, we're back in Waterdeep. Yay! We turn over the wizard, or we turn over the worm speaker right away, who actually wasn't a wizard, but we turned him over. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It turns out that the dragon told us he was skimming the thoughts of the dwarf, and he found out the reason why he wasn't tight with the rest of the worm speakers was because he lost the white dragon mask. A doppelganger had tricked it out of him. And now the worm mask of the white is actually in the hands of the Zentarum. That's a problem. The Zentarum aren't cuddly, aren't very friendly, and usually only willing to help if there's something seriously in it for them. I don't want to know what their price is for this item. But, on the other hand, as long as they have it, it's not too likely the Cult of the Dragon's going to get it, because those two really don't work well together, I suspect. That being said, we were given a fair amount of time. A couple of idle hints that we should go after the Arcane Brotherhood sage, who is currently trapped in the Sea of Moving Ice under the claw of Arumathor? Ancient White Dragon. Big nuisance. Just a bully. But a very powerful one. One that we're really not looking forward to taking on. For all that we have already defeated a white dragon, this promises to be on a completely different scale. Scales. But our trip is to go by boat. Well, Galhard doesn't like boats all that much, so I switch back to Korbrecht. So Korbrecht joins up with the group. Ah, yes, very happy to see everybody. Very happy to go out and adventure some more rather than just writing in his books all the time. Spellbook is fat, but everybody took a moment. We realized we had a boat trip, so there were things we could do on the boat, including crafting magical items that we wanted. We have the magical know-how to do this. Plenty of Arcana on tap. Kythian was helpful to Glint in terms of making a new hammer that strikes with a blast of thunder and knocks people around. And he also helped Kythian to make a Periapt of Wisdom out of his holy symbol, so that he now has more brains in his head. He now has a full 20 wisdom, so good on him. And ultimately, I brewed up some good stuff. We got to the Sea of Moving Ice. And the Sea of Moving Ice is a little bit tougher. We don't have time to idly do things. We have to work together to try to find where the island is, where the dragon lairs, because we have intel from the Lord's Alliance that told us basically, well, the last correspondence that this wizard has was that she had spotted this island, which perfectly matches the location that one of the lairs of the dragon. Great, so we have to find it. So we spend a day going around and looking for it, and again, the whole time, it's like, we've got a cleric with divination spells. He could just ask, which way do we go? And we could get there. It's not difficult. There's no rolling dice. If the gods are like, go there, we shouldn't be randomly going around. It should be a fairly quick trip. If it's a short distance, and if it's a long distance, it should be as quick as possible, rather than just randomly going around through mazes of ice. But we couldn't do this all in one day. There's some distance to be covered. So we set up for our first camp. And of course, camping with, under my suggestion, I had the idea of getting Rings of Warmth, which are considered relatively common magical items. They just basically save you from exposure. It's not like it protects you from cold blasts from a dragon or anything. But had the ring on, and you can walk in your boxer shorts out on a glacier and be fine. So we all have those now, yay me. But when we camp, I just throw out my Leomund's tiny hut. All of a sudden temperature gets controlled. We can be as warm as we need to be. Wind outside can't bother us, and no creatures from outside can bother us. That dragon can come along, and unless he's figured out how to dispel magic, he can't touch us until 8 hours has gone by. And if I really wanted to, I could cast it again. This doesn't require concentration, so I just cast it again. Hello, dragon. We're gonna be in here for a while. I mean, you know, you wanna talk or something? We're here. So yeah, it's a funny thing. But at any rate, well, of course we'd starve after a while, but still. And of course our cleric can create food and water, so we wouldn't even starve. We could sit there as long as it took us to outblink the dragon. If you want to stay here in your lair for, I'm a dwarf, so 200 years plus, that's fine. That's 200 years we've bought everybody outside from not having to worry about you. And if you leave, we're going to loot your treasure. So, what are you going to do? Yeah, technically you could do crazy things like that with the right magic. So we're protected. The crew has their own system and everything, but we figure they're veterans. But then an ice bear attacks. Big polar bear. Roar. Noms on one and starts dragging him to drag him into the water. Apparently their tactics are to grapple, drown, and then take the body and eat. Especially since they can go into the water, they're comfortable in the water, and everyone else freezes to death. So that's a good tactic on their part. The only problem with it is that this bear didn't know he was up against a 9th level wizard. Because I went early, Korbrecht is quick, poked his head out of the Leomund's tiny hut, said, "Stop that! Put him down!" Banishment. Poof! Bear goes away. We're like, okay, get him back. Everybody get ready. That bear's going to come back soon. So, 15 seconds later, the bear makes its saving throw. Pop! Comes back. And by this time, all of our guys are around him with weapons ready, and we just smash the bear. Total party kill. No problem. Or, no, sorry, not total party kill. Automatic party win. We wiped out the bear. Korbrecht took the guy. We took the guy back, and no, he was happy. Kythian just went, "Boop, you're healed." Now we got all this meat. We got a skin that somebody can be comfortable in once it's been cured. Yeah, total win us. Yay! Korbrecht's like, yeah, yay me. But yes, that was our initial encounter in the Sea of Moving Ice. Certainly there will be more, and they won't be as easy to deal with a single spell. But just part of the fun in our little game of Dungeons & Dragons. So, that sets us up for action into the future. We will see if we have the full group at the table next time, or if we still have members who are still remote playing with us through Discord. But we'll see. Alright, until next time, thank you very much for joining me. I am Rob. This has been my State of the Dungeon address. Farewell!